Like and subscribe on the way in the door, people. Today, we are going to talk about why and how Michael Jordan actually had more pressure and had to deal with more criticism than LeBron James. Before we get to it, let's check out this clip.
When Michael and I talked, the world knew of his fondness for golf and gambling. Last fall, he paid $57,000 to settle a weekend's worth of golf and poker bets. Jordan was cleared of any wrongdoing after an NBA investigation. But after our conversation during the NBA playoffs, he found himself answering charges he stayed out too late gambling at a casino.
Whoever saw me there at 1 o'clock, 2:30, whatever, I'd like to see them in person because I certainly will lay a lawsuit on them.
Then a San Diego businessman said Jordan had a gambling problem. In his book, Richard Esquinas said he and Jordan spent more than $1 million gambling on golf games. Publication was announced also during the NBA playoffs. In a written statement, Michael Jordan acknowledged he had gambled with Esquinas, whom he considered a friend. He disputed the amount of money and apologized for the distraction the story caused.
So for those of you who grew up in the 90s, in the era of Michael Jordan, you remember how huge of a story this was. It seems like everything kind of started hitting like right around the same time. Like everything, you had the Jordan rules, you had the gambling thing, and that was kind of changing this public perception of Mike. Because up until then, Mike had really kind of been looked at as squeaky clean image, you know, role model. If you guys remember, you never really saw Mike blow up on the court. Even going through those Pistons years, you know, getting knocked around and all that, you never really saw him lose his cool on the court. But as the pressure started mounting and, like I said, the media started, you know, picking him apart, so to speak, you know, that's when you start to see the cracks in the image of Michael Jordan, of being this squeaky clean, almost perfect athlete that they had marketed. So yeah, fanboys, Michael Jordan endured plenty of pressure and criticism. You know, they try to say LeBron James had more pressure than anybody in the history of basketball coming into the league right out of high school. And, you know, the chosen one, the king, which let's be real, people. A lot of the pressure put on LeBron was brought upon him by himself and his actions. No one told him to get the chosen one tattoo and king and all this stuff. He decided to do that. But yeah, and talking about the era of social media and all this. So first of all, let's just go to the number one reason why Michael Jordan had more pressure and more criticism than LeBron James. And the number one answer is simply this: because Michael Jordan was much bigger than LeBron James ever was and ever will be. Especially at this point. You know, he's at the tail end of his career. Lucky for us. But yeah, Michael Jordan was just a much bigger athlete and star than LeBron James ever was. And we all know that the bigger you are as a star, the more the spotlight is on you, meaning the more you are scrutinized. It doesn't matter if social media didn't exist back then. You know, the fact of the matter is Michael Jordan was such a huge star. And for those of you who really remember back then, especially like during those early playoff runs, but really it continued his whole career. You know, I thought when I was watching Michael Jordan in the Wizards years that they were a lot more critical of him than normal, because it would basically be, you know, every bad game he had, it was like, oh, it's, you know, should he have come back? And then the minute he has a good game, it's like, oh, he's back. Michael Jordan's back. Then the next bad game, you know, it's like, oh, you know, it's this flip-flopping kind of thing. So I thought this, you know, was just a Wizards thing. But as I go back and watch some of these older playoff games, you realize they were doing this the whole time. Even during Michael Jordan's prime years. You know, they win a game in the playoffs and, you know, everything was all praises from the media, and then they lose a game and then now it's all doubts. And so Michael Jordan, because he was the first of a lot of things in basketball, but definitely was the first star who reached that magnitude in basketball, had a lot of pressure on him. Not only did he have a lot of pressure on him because he was the first at so many things, he had a lot of pressure on him by the standards he set for his own self. Which is why there was so much flip-flopping from the media. Again, because I've said this in other videos, Michael Jordan made the impossible seem possible on a daily basis. So what people expect from Michael Jordan was perfection. That's what was expected from Michael Jordan. You know, he was expected to hit every game winner because he hit so many. And fanboys, like I said, Michael Jordan's percentage in clutch shots, we're not just talking about buzzer beaters, we're talking about clutch shots in general, is right at about 50%. Much higher than any other superstar. So yeah, people expected perfection from Michael Jordan. They expected that he was going to hit the game winners. They expected that he was going to find a way to come from behind. They expected that, hey, he was never going to get behind in the first place. They expected if Chicago was up 3-0, that then it should be a sweep. It should be automatic. Like, Jordan raised the bar so high that the expectations on him were so much higher than everyone else. Fanboys, I know you can't understand this because you don't know what it's like to experience this. But Michael Jordan raised the bar so high to near perfection that people expected perfection from him. And again, this went beyond the basketball court. Like I said, up until the whole gambling and Jordan rules and all that stuff kind of started to come out, seemed like just all at once. It was like an avalanche. But before then, like I said, it was the squeaky clean Michael Jordan image. Be like Mike. And on top of that, you know, again, it's all the criticism he received coming into the league. You know, the criticism about him not being a good defender. The criticism of he's not a good shooter. The criticism of you can't win without a big man. Like the criticism of someone who plays his position cannot lead a team to championships. The criticism of you can't lead the league in scoring and lead your team to championships. And he overcame all of these things. He overcame all of these things, you know, one by one. And on a continuous level. Again, Michael Jordan got better each and every year. But when you're talking about criticism and pressure, how could anyone have more pressure than the guy who was held to a standard of perfection because he set a standard of perfection? And then you're talking about, again, the celebrity of Michael Jordan. which again, you fanboys cannot understand what that's like. Like LeBron does not have, despite us living in the age of social media, LeBron does not have the type of star power that Michael Jordan had back in the age where there was no social media. Like Michael Jordan, there will never be another basketball player to gain that kind of fame. Again, all eyes on Michael Jordan. I mean, you heard the clip. You know, him being spotted gambling at 1 or 2 in the morning. That made the news. And I would say, and this as well, it's like the news back then was taken more serious. Like, in this age of social media, yes, everything that you do may end up on social media, but you got to look at it this way too. Because everything that you do winds up on social media, everything is like a fly-by-night story. It's like, here 1 minute, gone the next. You know, it's like your news until the next celebrity does something that makes news, which is probably going to be, you know, a few hours, so to speak. But back then, the news was taken serious. So, you know, with these, there was a very serious atmosphere around these Jordan gambling scandals and all that kind of stuff. Like, there was a very serious, you know, it created a lot of doubt surrounding Michael Jordan. It created a lot of doubt with parents now feeling like, oh, should I be trying to let my kids be like Mike? Again, the simple fact that Michael Jordan was such a bigger star than LeBron James, that automatically puts him in a place of higher scrutiny, in a place of higher pressure to live up to this certain standard. LeBron James will never know what it is like to live life as a celebrity on that level. LeBron James fanboys will never know what it's like to try to live up to a standard of perfection that you have set for yourself, because you have constantly done the impossible. Constantly. Not 4 out of 10 tries. LeBron James will never know what it's like to have that kind of pressure. And I'm not saying LeBron James didn't have pressure. This is not, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying he didn't have pressure. Coming into the league that young, obviously is going to be pressure. But when they try to compare it to the level of pressure and criticism that Michael Jordan had, Rich Paul, give it up. Please. I don't know how old Rich Paul is, but, you know, either he's not old enough or he's just, or he got too much money in his pockets weighing him down for him to remember correctly. You know, that clutch sports money. Anyway, we gonna hold up here. Like I said, I just wanted to do, you know, I was scrolling through and found these clips, and it just reminded me of the, like I said, not only the scrutiny and pressure that Jordan was under, but it just reminded me that, hey, look, Jordan was so famous. Jordan was in the spotlight so heavily. Jordan had set a standard, you know, had made people believe in him to such a degree that he had the ultimate spotlight. And when you're in the spotlight to that degree, people are watching every single thing you do. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. What do you think about this clip? For you guys who, again, who grew up in that era, tell me what you remember about a lot of those scandals, and what was the vibe around your city or country when your city or country when these things were taking place. Do you remember this stuff? And let's let these fanboys know the kind of pressure that you are under when you are one of the most famous people in the world. And again, with no social media. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. You all have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time. All right.